All right, buddy. So go ahead and tell the people that haven't seen your first episode your name and a little bit about yourself, why you're on this channel.
Sure, man. My name's Dub. I'm up here in Maine. I'm on this channel because I had a fairly unique opportunity to work in some military prison institutions around the world, pretty much everywhere from Korea to Guantanamo Bay to Leavenworth, Kansas to Iraq. You know what I mean? I've got to work in a lot of different military prisons, so I have a little bit of a unique insight.
Yeah, and you were in the military as well,
Yeah,
correct?
I'm actually a retired military. It's
You know, a lot of people that watch my content, it's actually military, man. Why don't you tell them a little bit about your military background?
Sure. Let's see. I joined the army in '98. Came in, it was combat arms. Started out on tanks. Got to go shoot with tanks a little bit, and
Like literally shooting the tanks?
I shot it, drove it.
Ooh, how was that, man? Let's pause the story for a second.
Josh, shooting a 120 millimeter cannon. Man, it'll get your blood just pumping. There's
Really?
nothing like it, man. You got the breech right here. And 80-pound bullets in it. Boom, laser guided hell, man. It's
80-pound bullets.
the M1 Abrams going 40 miles an hour over compromised terrain can engage a target 4 miles away.
What do you think tanks are mainly used for? If you were to say
They were
they
great
want to do something specifically that tanks are built for, what do you think it would be?
fighting in like deserts. You know what I mean? Where there's how they used to in Civil War, they'd stand across from each other,
Yeah.
beat the hell out of each other. Well,
Is
that's
it just to battle other tanks or
basically after if there's not other tanks to fight, they're great for show of force. They're great to cordon off areas because you know what I mean. If you're going to put a tank at a main gate of a forward operating base, that's not going to be the main gate. Someone's going to try to drive a vehicle-borne IED through.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good show of force. I mean, you're talking 68 tons of steel, man, twisted steel that can move 70 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
It can move.
Yeah, them things can move, man. And what is it? What's their shot precision like? Is it good?
Brother.
Is it on point nowadays, man?
Guided.
Guided, laser guided.
No, the missiles aren't guided. Your reticle system, you lock onto a laser or target, it gives you a range, locks onto that target with a laser. That's where the bullet slave to the laser. So the
So
round,
there's actually like a little monitor or something in these newer tanks.
it's all computerized, brother.
Oh,
It's not like the old stuff twisting to turn the turret.
That's what I'm thinking of for some reason with
Cadillac
tanks.
makes the actual company Cadillac makes our handles that engage the turret, left and right. You can swing around this fast. It's everything's hydraulic, computers, and like I said, night vision, thermal vision, and you can put a tank round through a Humvee window at 4 miles away while moving.
That's crazy.
It's dirty,
man.
brother. It's dirty. The tanks, the U.S. main battle tank, M1 Abrams, M1A2s, they're just
Do they have any kind of weaponry on the sides or anything like that?
course, the gunner that's shooting the main gun, he also has a switch to where he's got a 7.62 240 machine gun. Right
Oh.
the main gun were the same lasers and everything. He just switches to coax.
Damn.
The tank commander's got a 50 cal M2 heavy barrel Browning machine gun. The loader has a 240 machine gun Charlie with butterflies on the other side. You've got 6 grenades on each side that you can launch out. The white phosphorus or smoke or whatever, but boom, you got grenade launchers out there. So if people try to bum rush them, you can just launch, you know what I mean, launch your Willie P and burn them off your tank.
Oh my god.
Crazy, bro. It's
Tanks are like their own little damn army, man.
oh, it is. I mean, in 2003 when we pushed into Baghdad, though, once we got into Baghdad, here's the thing about tanks. In the desert, they're great. In urban environments, if you're going down the street, think about if you can't traverse, you know what I mean? You're obsolete. So in 2003, we got there, we got to Baghdad. Once we got there, we turned in our tanks and we all started rolling around in shitty ass Humvees, man.
That's crazy,
No
man.
doors on them. They weren't up armored back then. None of that. It was just
Yeah, see, when I'm thinking of stuff, because I know what the Humvees look like, they kind of, they're not really that nowadays after everything.
They weigh 6 tons, and they got
Yeah, now they're definitely strapped up.
Oh yeah.
But back in the day, like you said, I mean, they were getting shredded up. You know what I mean?
We were getting straight up. Well, they didn't have any doors. There were no up armored. So instead of having a piece of plastic between you, we'd take the doors off so we could sit and hang our legs out. Because it's like I told you last time, the best thing you can do is see it coming. You ain't
I
gonna
bet
see.
a lot of men lost their lives, man, chilling like that on them damn Humvees.
Unfortunately, because we tried a few things, putting sandbags in the floorboard in case we hit the IEDs. Unfortunately, if the IED is big enough, all that sand turns into glass and turns into shrapnel. We learned that
Yeah.
way as well. Now, by the time my first deployment was over, we did have a few up armored Humvees. They did try to get us what we could, but we were in there so fast and furious in 2003, no pun intended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That they didn't. We outran our trains really. By the time we were like, took us 3 weeks to get to Baghdad. Took us 3 days to conquer it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the 3 days we were boom, we're set up. That it took a little bit to catch up. So unfortunately, there was some downtime where we didn't have all the equipment we needed, but we got it in a timely fashion.
That's insane, man.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
all this, prison talk is my thing, but combat talk I am very fascinated about,
Yeah,
man.
I know a little bit about both.
I know I know that's right. That's a hell of a combination.
Yeah.
I know I could sit there and drink beers with you all night, man.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. We could definitely get down and do some talking in person for sure.
Yeah, like I had a neighbor at my old house, man. The dude, he's seen some combat experience, and I used to talk to him all the time, man. He told me some crazy shit, and I was just like a tractor beam sucked in the front yards, just talking for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. All right, so let's jump into the correction side. You leave the whole combat scene, and we'll probably talk about that later on down the road a little more
Hey,
because I
man.
like to
Like I
talk
said,
about it.
open
But
book.
you get into the prison scene, man, and you're working corrections. A lot of people said, "Why the hell, Death? Death, why did you not allow him to talk about Guantanamo Bay?"
Yeah, I know, man. I know. That's
Tell us about it, man, because that shit was in the news left and
yeah,
right
man.
for all the.
I definitely, I've been thinking about that hard because, like I said, I try to stay out of the comments just so I don't get wrapped up, and it's easy for me to come and do this. But that's the biggest thing. A few of my good friends, that told me they were like, "Hey, everyone wants to know about Gitmo at Guantanamo Bay." When I say Gitmo, that's just what we call it in the know, Gitmo instead of Guantanamo Bay. Too many damn.
Yeah.
Gitmo is Guantanamo Bay. Let me turn.
Okay.
Quick. But yeah, man, I have been thinking about this a lot the last few days because it is a subject I'd like to broach. It's just a subject we got to be kind of. I need to
Yeah.
watch.
Just say what you can,
Well, here's the
man.
big things that I can't talk about are like individuals that are there personally by name or anything like that, or procedures that we have, number of camps, stuff like anything to do with procedure. I've also been out of the game for a long time, several years, so it's probably changed.
Okay.
But I can get into let's get into the day to day of being a soldier going to Gitmo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this before you get to that.
Yeah.
Were there any, just a rough guess here, were there any individuals that you would say were probably on those deck of cards you see in convenience stores of the most dangerous terrorists in the world? Were there any super known probably individuals that you were around during your stay?
Even worse than the deck of cards.
Damn, dude.
But I'll tell you, brother, deck of cards. Me and my unit put 3 of them away in 2003, personally.
What do you mean?
I mean, when you get an order and they find out someone somewhere, units get orders. Hey, go get this guy. Now I'm going to tell you, certain people they call the specialized people. And
we're back into combat right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that's when the deck of cards was big, 2003, 2004. Saddam,
Yeah.
spades, right?
Yeah.
And I would say out of that whole deck, the biggest one my unit personally took down was the Queen of Diamonds.
Really?
And that was something I was actually present when it happened, as far as like famous. But the people at Gitmo, there's people there that make the deck, the whole deck of cards, including Saddam, look like a middle school hockey team, man.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow. All right, man. Let's henceforth, man. I know that's crazy. That's crazy though, you know?
It is, man. It's Guantanamo Bay opened my eyes a lot, man. Because I already went there. Like I said, I was already a staff sergeant, so I was a seasoned soldier. I had been around, seen a few things, thought I knew a few things. Guantanamo Bay is an eye opener, man, as far as what reality is. You see the game for what it is, kind of a look behind the curtain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's how it goes, man. And everything in life has an alternate.
You never want to meet your heroes, man. You just put that down. You know,
But look, okay, so what was his prison like? The lockdown status, man, was
you get Mo?
yeah.
Which,
What
let me
was
explain
it?
Guantanamo Bay to you first, man. It's not just a prison.
Okay.
You know, like you remember that jail you were showing? I think it was off in Virginia, the real big one. It's like a city, got 3 different areas. Now there's several facilities and what they call camps.
Okay.
So you get like what a camp is pretty much. We'll call it like they have a lot more free. It's like we'll say like a medium. You know what I mean? They have yards,
Yeah.
whatever. And then there's also places in there where you're just not allowed to go unless you have like secret clearance or whatnot. That there's camps that people spend a whole year there and never go near or can't even go to places where you can see to that part of the island. It's all restricted.
Do people ever ask, or you hear people trying to speculate? Oh man, I
Oh,
think
that's
you're
all they do is speculate, man. But the hard part is to keep a secret is you need soldiers to work those camps, right?
yeah.
You got a bunch of 18-year-old kids coming home getting drunk on Saturday night from working at the secret camps. You think they ain't doing a bunch of this? Right?
Ah, they're like, damn, dog, y'all ain't gonna believe who the hell I seen
Right.
today.
Right. It is, man.
He ain't dead. I'll just say he ain't dead.
You said that, not me, brother.
Oh man, I don't know if I put that in there, but hey.
It's surprisingly accurate, probably.
Yeah. Hey, but anyways, all right. So, Jesus, man.
Yeah, it's an enigma, man, because when you get there, it's a Navy post. Navy runs the post, but Army soldiers work the jails. You know, work the camps. We'll call them camps.
Yeah.
But some of them are max security, 23-in-1 type deal. Like if they're like, imagine a 3-story shoe, man, like a whole shoe that holds like 300 people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yep.
So classification is a big thing there, obviously. But my biggest thing is this is something that's never been talked about, man. Believe me, anything that's been put out on Gitmo, I personally watch. I take a special interest in it. And
Oh shit! So you are the golden child, my friend.
no, man. I just have a little bit of. I love giving insight on this stuff, man. You know.
Well, I mean, I haven't heard anything on this crap at all besides the media. You know, of
All the
course,
media
back in the
talks
day,
about
but that's
is
it.
what, like the unfair treatment of detainees and how they're being abused or whatnot. One thing I can say is I was there in 2006 to 2007. You spend a year.
Uh-huh.
Zero abuse was took down when I was there, man. It was you want to talk about a microscope. The soldiers after that Camp X-ray in 2001, man, you can't do anything. You know, you're under a microscope. You know, the president gets briefed on Guantanamo Bay every 24 hours.
So it was really a situation that was taken care of for real.
Oh, bro, let me tell you what. I mean, you go on a 4-cell extraction, it's videotaped by 3 independent cameras. You know what I mean? The whole deal. It's but I would like to touch on a little bit of what the soldiers have to deal with when they're in there.
Yeah, let's hear it, man.
Because this is a side that's never really told. And again, I want to talk about younger soldiers, you know, first time away from home, been to basic training, and then they're in Guantanamo Bay, right?
Yeah.
Now they're in charge of detainee operations, but now, so they're responsible for some of the baddest dudes on the planet, you know, and these dudes, there's some real dark individuals in there, okay? And what they like to do in one of the camps, especially when I told you that's sort of like a shoe, is they'll save all their body fluids in a cup for a few days, all of them, and they let it ferment for a few days. And then when they come to get fed, they like to call it the splash. They like to throw it in the guards' faces. So imagine being 18 years old. First, you're scared crapless before you go in the facility because you've been through so many in-processing classes that have told you these guys are all the devil themselves and they'll kill you in 2 seconds. But you can't do anything or you're going to go to jail and you'll be in Leavenworth, right?
Yeah.
That's the message these kids are told. Their hands are tied. And they're going in there getting that stuff thrown in their face. The females have a hard time because of the religion. You know, a lot of the Muslim religion with the female role. So female guards take it real hard in there.
Yeah.
You know, and they're just, a lot of them are militant, obviously. You know what I mean? That you're talking, these are bad dudes. They're trained dudes. They're militant, and they have nothing to do but to plan on how to mess with these guards or how to hurt them, how to get an attack on them. And the guards' hands are tied. So that amount of stress that goes on inside those camps day in, day out, all these people are doing. Now, I understand in prisons there's kind of a us versus them, but it's not like this, Josh. It's different. It's a different level of hatred. You know, they hate us with their in their heart, like it's religiously.
It's religiously inclined,
So hard.
man, and
Yeah,
that's
it's
gonna
so
be
hard,
by
man.
far
It's so
way
hard.
more.
It's
Yeah.
like, you remember what you were saying the other day about like if someone's got 2 strikes, you'd be like, "You're good, man. Lay down."
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's a thing in here. You couldn't get these dudes to lay down. They got 2 strikes against them. They know they're going to the big camp. They're gonna make the third one count. That's all. It's a
Yeah.
mentality because it's religious. It's
But they're doing everything that they're doing is pretty much for what's
I
happening afterwards,
because
afterlife. You
that's
know.
all it is, man. This is just the suffering you have to endure to get to the promised land.
Yeah.
So that's what they believe.
Now,
I mean, it's not
just
too twisted.
now look at that. I mean, people that fight for a cause like that are gonna fight with everything they
truly
have.
believe it.
Yeah, they're gonna fight with everything they have because that's how I am with my religious beliefs.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I can understand and relate, but at the same time, my religious belief also boils down to love. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, but I understand what you're saying. That's crazy though. You know that.
It's just a different kind of head game, man. It's altogether a different head game. A lot of these guys are trained killers. You know what I'm saying? Straight up
Yeah.
trained, triple doctorates type deal. Like not ignorant people. You know, a lot of people misconceive that they're stupid because they grow up in the mountains and shit, or grow up in the mountains, herd goats or whatever. That's not at all. You know, to underestimate your enemy like that is to lose the war before it starts. These dudes are smart individuals. Their candor, they're manipulative. I mean, they're professionals. Dudes have been in there sometimes over 20 years already, man. There's dudes have been in there a long time.
Yeah, and they've been seeing combat their whole lives.
Growing up in it.
Growing up in shit that makes projects out here look like damn Sunday school.
They're hard people, man. It is a different world. But to understand them is the only way you can really try to ever have any kind of work with them. Because at Guantanamo Bay, you don't have a choice. You're going to work with them. And me, that was my first duty assignment after reclass. And so the last deployment, I was hunting these dudes, and now I'm babysitting them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's insane, man.
I had a hard adjustment period. I had a couple weeks where I was on my commander and first sergeant's carpet a few times. You know, they had to reprogram me, but it's a big adjustment, man. Those soldiers go through a lot there. You know?
I mean, that must be crazy, man, because you just left the field. I'm sure you've seen some shit, and your homeboys went down.
Yes.
And now you got to come back and feed these dudes 3 trays a day.
While they're trying to throw feces at me and talking about my mom or my sister or my son.
That's a hard job, my friend.
You know, corrections in general is a thankless job. I don't really get it, and I would never do it like on my own accord. I would never. Yeah, that's what I want to do. But detainee operations is just a little bit harder in the sense that there's that cultural divide between you two. So you may do something and disrespect somebody on a biblical level that you didn't even have a clue you were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So that difficulty, really, it's just a big gap. And when you got a bunch of kids in there, because that's mostly what's in there working, are 18, 19-year-old kids, it's hard, man. It's that whole place is just a big dark zone, man. You know what? There's a reason you don't hear those stories, you know, and about the stuff that the soldiers endure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I will say this, man. You know, for you to drop at to flip at the drop of a dime from one, environment to another and do that, feeding them trays and taking care of them and babysitting them. For you to be here and you're talking to me now and you seem down to earth and you seem pretty chill and relaxed and you're telling your story. Man, I'll tell you what. You're a tough-minded individual. It really makes a man to be able to live through those kind of environments and come out here and still act like you got some sense. You know?
I'll tell you straight up, when I first tried to make that adjustment, Josh, it wasn't. I made a lot of mistakes getting there, man. You know, I crossed the line a lot. I was quick with my quick. I crossed the line a lot. You know what I mean? It was an adjustment. It wasn't something I was able to do like that. And,
yeah.
This is the first time speaking with you that I've really ever just outwardly spoke with anybody about any of my stuff. I talk with my girl or a couple close friends, you know what I mean? But this is the first time I've ever really put it out. But it's
shit, man, you need to crank up a damn YouTube channel.
I don't have that much to say.
I tell everybody that I feel as though it has a chance, man.
Do, though. I've seen some good stuff spin off from you, man, directly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I unfortunately, I don't have that much stuff to talk about. You know what I mean? I'm not that. I know what I know, and there's not that much more, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. But thousands of people have watched your video, your first video, and man, they liked you. That's why you're here again as well. And I was entertained, and I really had some other questions. And speaking of questions, in Guantanamo Bay, Getmo,
Mhm.
and this is kind of going to bring me into Leavenworth.
Okay.
Uh, did they have death row? Because you said they had death row in
Guantanamo?
Leavenworth. Yeah, did they have
No.
death row over
Not
there? We can bypass that. Let's just go ahead and jump into Leavenworth death row. You said they had death row. I never even knew, and a lot of people didn't know either.
for
And
sure.
I'm gonna wrap it up here too as well, man.
Not only that, Josh, we don't use it, but we have a lethal injection room in the shoe too.
Really?
Table and everything. They actually use it. They they have this special testing they do for chomos, man, where they put this little thing on their junk and show them videos, and they can tell if he's getting aroused or not. Kind of testing. That's what they use. It special processing room is what it's called.
Stop playing, man.
I couldn't make. Could you really think I couldn't make that up? It's because it's in the shoe, so we have to. When I was running the shoe, you have to maintain the room, but that's all it's used for. Yeah, and I
So,
also go ahead.
so this happens on a regular basis?
I don't think on a regular basis. I think if it comes time when people are looking at maybe getting near their MDR, like their minimum MRD, their minimum release date, I think they may have to go if they're CSOs. I think they have to do a little bit of that testing. I'm not sure why they use it on certain people, if it's for classifications or whatnot, but they do have the equipment. I've seen it firsthand.
And
Never
it
saw them
can
use it.
literally test if the guy's getting aroused.
Because they'll show them pictures of, they'll it's all pictures of like, hey, here's a river going flowing, here's some dogs and some kids in a park, and here's some kids playing in a park. You know what I'm saying? See where his brain goes. They test his brain with, but that's
That's
what it is. Yeah, but as far,
okay.
as far as death row, when I was there last, there were, I believe, 7. There was one general population, or at least one, maybe 2 that have gotten overturned from death row and we're doing life in GP. The crimes vary. We've got, like I said, there's a couple TLC specials in there. You know what I mean? That you see, like there was
On
an
TV
individual
and
that
media.
was sleeping with his buddy's wife. Yada yada. Ended up killing his buddy so he could have the wife. The wife turned him in afterwards. Got nervous. Now he's death row. There's actually a pair of guys that were back in the 80s. They were in Germany in the army, and they would rob and kill white cab drivers. Like only white cab drivers. They killed like 4 or 5 of them. There's one that actually, and this is what's crazy about death row. There's a guy, an old man there that he's the only serial killer we have in there. And when George W. Bush left office, one of the last things he did was he signed this guy's death notice saying, okay, he's good. All his appeals are exhausted and everything. Dude's still alive. 2 presidents later, he's still in there. Been there. When his stuff got signed, everyone freaked out. The admin didn't know, what do we do with him? He's getting ready. And he said, I've been here 22 years, man. I'm ready. These guys that have been in there, they're like, it's my time. But
When was the last time someone was killed over there in
the Kennedy administration, 68, I think it was the last time the U.S. military had executed an inmate.
So it's been quite a while since anybody's been.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like it's I couldn't even tell you who the last person was or what he did. I just know it was in the end of the 60s.
But y'all definitely have the equipment to
Oh,
get
yeah.
the job done.
Definitely. Because the table, man, it's creepy when because there's no windows in that room except the observation room, which is also in a closed room.
Yeah.
It's just a door that you walk by. Everybody walks by 100 times a day, never realizes. When you open it, it's just, and I believe it definitely has never been used because the facility's not that old anymore.
Yeah, that's
It's
insane,
got that
man.
feeling when you see that table and everything. It grabs you kind of way. It hits you in a weird way, man.
Yeah, I believe it, man.
That's for killing people. You know what I mean?
That's where you're gonna
no
die.
other purpose.
Yeah.
That's just to stop somebody from existing.
Yeah.
That's creepy, dude.
Yeah, it is.
We had I tell you a story we had on the tier of I don't know if you remember back in like 2003, there was a guy who rolled a grenade into his command tent.
No, I don't remember that.
His name's Muhammad. He's on death row. His name was Cruz back when he did it. He's Muslim now, but his name's Muhammad. He actually threw a grenade in his command control tent when the war first kicked off. Killed some people. He, made it out alive somehow. He's up there, and he
was a part of military first beforehand, though.
Every one of them were.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's right. That's right.
Every
Okay.
single one of them were in when they got put on DSI, man. That's
Yeah.
and you got to do some stuff like now to get put on DSI. Most of those guys, I feel like they're going to get overturned or just sit there for like 30, 40 years. Prison has become a money industry.
It has, man.
It
It
has.
definitely has.
It's dirty, it's dark, it's shady, but I guess unless you're a billionaire owning one, you ain't got much say in it.
Yeah, and if people still have the choice to say no, I'm not paying that crazy amount, but they still do. And even there are ways to make money off of inmates, even without them buying all this crazy canteen, just by them living in there. Period.
Oh,
The state's getting plenty of money.
And I'm talking about. Yes, it's dark, man. There's prisons out there that have contracts with states that states tell we will keep you at 80% capacity.
Yeah.
How can you sign a contract?
Guaranteed
you will be at 80% capacity, no less ever.
See, that's foul, man. How is that even possible?
That's what I'm saying. It's so backwards, Josh. It's the whole prison system's backwards, and I know more about military prisons. I'm not going to act like I'm out here in the corrections advocate or anything, but I've got a lot of good friends that have done some pretty serious time.
Yeah.
And I've seen them be victims to it. Heard their stories. It's crap, man. It's I got the only difference between them and me is I was lucky enough to get in the military at a young age and got my ass squared away. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's the only difference. It's like what you said. If you'd have passed that ASVAB, bro, you'd have been somewhere completely different today.
Something totally different, my friend.
Through some shit, but look where it's got you today. That's what I think. What if I didn't go in the Army and I may have been through a lot of hardships, but it's made me so much more of a well-rounded person today. Just because, I can't tell you what to do right, but I can tell you if you do this, it's going to be wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what's up, man. Look, I appreciate you coming back onto the show and breaking it down, and hopefully next time, because I would like to have you on again and maybe talk a little bit about military, because I'm really into it, man. I'm really into the military thing. And anybody out there that might have had a crazy or wild military experience, man, come on down.
Oh, yeah. It's...
I say it all the time, man. Prison and military, I'm not going to sit here and put them on a pedestal right next to each other, but they do have
very similar.
Very similar, man. Emotionally.
Oh yeah.
It is, man. So
much. I've made that honestly. Sitting with my boys, we're talking, man. I said, man, the only thing different is they was making me kill people. It's I was doing what someone told me to do when they told me to do it and what they told me to wear for most of my adult life, man.
Yeah. So I understand, man, and it intrigues me dramatically to hear more about the military side of things, because a lot of people don't talk about it too much. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on to the show again. You got anything you would like to say before we leave?
No, man. I just want to say thank you for having me on again. I've been trying hard the last couple of days to think about getting on what I can talk about and what I can't talk about. If there's any questions, like I said, I don't know if I really stay out of the comments, but if there's questions that viewers have individually,
I'll keep an eye out on it.
My girl does and other people do too. You know what I mean? I can't get in there. I can't get wrapped up in that. There's too many. There was like 750 comments. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, you got good comments though. You got good feedback.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me on too, man. That's it, man. Have a good holiday weekend, brother.
I know that's right, man. You as well, and just be safe out there.
Yeah.